Hello, I am so excited to be with you today. My name is Jess Layne, and I am the Director of Advancement with the organization Restored Nation. Restored Nation exists to help individuals get up and out of the pit of despair, guilt, shame, and many other negative emotions following certain decisions in their lives, whether that trauma came from abortion, whether that came from miscarriage, and many other negative life cycles and choices. And we're just so honored to be able to do this work. I personally have been involved with helping women that have had abortions heal and get set free from the negative after effects of abortion for over 14 years. And it has been such an honor. And so today, we're coming to you with a little training video. This training video is specifically for people who are leaders and facilitators for post-abortion ministry groups. It doesn't really matter which curriculum you use, but whatever it is, that's fine. Our organization uses Forgiven and Set Free, Reclaiming Fatherhood, and then Keys to Hope and Healing. So that's the curriculum that we are committed to. But honestly, this training could be for anyone. Doesn't matter what curriculum you use. So we're so glad you're here. Let's jump into it. So we're going to just go over a handful of suggestions that honestly I've just had work for me over the years and really wanted to provide this training for other leaders so that they can also be successful and grow their groups and help as many people as possible in their community. So let's get started. All right. So I would say the number one most important key to filling our groups is consistency. And let me explain why. So I believe, and what I've come to learn is that the more consistent we are, the more dependable we are, the more people can come to count on us doing the things we say that we're going to do, the easier it is for them to trust our organization, to send people our way, and for people to come and utilize our resources. So consistency is really important. In addition to that, I would say being consistent helps me. Offering groups at the same time each year, in the same manner each year, really not changing things so much that people get whiplash and aren't quite sure what to expect. I really have come to find that consistency is so important. We answer emails in a consistent manner. We get back to people in the same time frame, 1 day, maybe 2 days maximum. We're just very consistent with how we conduct ourselves in every way possible. And I think that is key for everybody in pretty much any situation, but especially when you're trying to grow your organization and present yourself as an organization that is trustworthy to those who are seeking your services. Next, I would say book dates for your groups on a consistent basis. So I'll just give you the example of what our group does. So you can count on Restored Nation offering groups in January, April, and September every single year. And those groups are going to be our post-abortion groups as well as our Unraveled Roots groups that are help people with some other issues that they might be dealing with. We also have a group available for those who have experienced miscarriage and infant loss, but those groups are available on an as needed basis. So we respond to those pretty quickly and usually can meet with people within a week or two after they've reached out to us. So first and foremost, we would say be consistent in booking your groups and also just pick a date and go for it. When you're looking at the calendar for January, decide to start, pick the dates, and then advertise those dates. Don't wait for people to come to you and then muddle through figuring out your dates. Definitely get them on the calendar, commit to them. And it's okay. You might have to shift those dates by a week or two, but definitely get them on the calendar. Begin advertising that, begin speaking to people in the places that you advertise, saying, hey, this is when we're starting, here's when we're available, and reach out to people. We also offer a 4-day intensive in the summer. So that's another commitment that we have. So we do January, April, September for our longer form groups, and then our short 4-day intensive group, we try to offer one time in the summer. And that works really well. And then, like I said, just book and post those dates absolutely everywhere and get that information out there and really try to stick to it if you can. All right. Now, the other part that goes along with that is do an intake appointment with each potential participant. Now, for Restored Nation, all the groups that we offer are closed groups. So that's just how we've decided to do that. So what a closed group means is that they are never drop-in style. Someone can't just drop in on week 2 of our 8-week post-abortion group. They have to be sat down with first. So we call that an intake, and we have several documents that we go over with them. So first and foremost, we share with them confidentiality and limitations. So we let them know who Restored Nation is and who we aren't. So we're not a replacement for counseling. We're big advocates for counselors and therapists. We want them to continue in that. If they're doing that, we share with them any content that they might come in contact with that we give them the freedom to not watch or see. We go over that. And then we also go over confidentiality. So the state that we're in does require us to do some kind of reporting if something is told to us. But outside of that, we can keep everything else confidential, and we do. It's very important. So we do let them know, and they will sign a piece of paper saying that they know that we will keep things confidential. However, we do also get permission to use their information on a confidential basis for statistics and things like that. And they get to decide yes or no. So we go over that. We go over a commitment to the group, what a commitment looks like, and what our expectations are for coming to group. We also have an assessment form where we have them tell us what has been hard in these last 5 years. What are the top 3 things you've really struggled with? And we have a form that they can fill out because we want to make sure that the groups that we're offering are not going to be too much for them at this season in life, and also let them know so they can communicate with their counselor or therapist if they are seeing one about what to expect in group. And so this really helps us assess their situation, assess where they're at, and if they might be a good fit for group, and also is group a good fit for them. And so that really helps us. We then go on to have them fill out a couple more forms, one that just goes over, just because they've come to group doesn't mean they can now go start a group and things like that. And so really it's the intake gives us about 45 minutes to work with them, get to know them, make sure that they have all their questions answered, but also helps us assess whether or not they would be a good fit for group. And we highly recommend this. And you might be thinking, how is this going to help me fill my group? I do think it will, because we want not only to fill our groups, but then keep people in the group the whole time, right? Have them be a part of that full commitment, because that is how everybody is going to benefit the most. We highly recommend that. We also would recommend that 2 people do these intakes. Now, I recognize that can be a challenge, especially if your team is on the smaller side. So you may have to do them by yourself, or maybe have someone come with you that maybe isn't a leader in your group, but is someone trusted in the community that you're a part of. Because then you've got 2 sets of eyes, 2 sets of brains, so to speak, watching and interacting with this person. And maybe that individual that's with you will catch something or pick up on something that you didn't. So we do recommend that you do these intakes with 2 people. And we always take people to a coffee shop and buy them coffee, and make sure we're somewhere loud so no one's going to hear what we're talking about, but it can be a really nice environment to get to know them in, and just put them at ease. It's a really nice environment to just chat into. I think we all can enjoy that. Now, maybe coffee is not your thing and you think that's a horrible idea. No worries. Find another type of place that's safe but private at the same time, where you can meet with this individual. Okay. And I think I already said it, but just we want to always put a huge emphasis on the fact that it is a closed group. Okay, that's really important. That will help with commitment levels. All right, the next thing I would recommend is whatever community you're a part of. I think most of us are personally involved in a faith community. And so it really helps to meet with your pastor, your women's pastor, your head pastor, and let them know that this is something that you do, that this is a ministry that you've been called to, and that because you attend that church, that you are absolutely a resource for that specific faith community. I have had more groups filled through folks that go to my church really than I have from pregnancy resource centers. People that have come to my groups from pregnancy resource centers are oftentimes volunteers that are wanting to serve, and that pregnancy resource center has a rule that they need to attend one of our groups before they can serve, which I very much agree with. I think that's a really good idea. And so that is really, we've never really had clients necessarily in large numbers come from pregnancy resource centers. We would recommend this. And one really easy way to let folks know if they're not going to have a way for you to speak at that church is to just put flyers in the bathrooms and making sure there's an easy way for people to get a hold of your information and reach out to you. So whether that's just an email that they can email you to get with you, or maybe a QR code. We use a QR code, which takes them to our website. And then on our website, we have a form that they can fill out that comes directly to us so we know how we can serve them. But that, I think, would be and you want to make sure that the flyer is very clean and simple to read. And even though you're posting it at a church, be careful with using too many high-level Christianese words, because especially if someone is newer to church, like I was when I started going back in 2006, and I didn't really know much. I also didn't really know what to think about my abortion at that time, except that I was really bothered by it and I had a lot of pain from it. And I would have been really excited to see something in a bathroom about a Bible study that was available to me, but the wording would have been really important because I was still so new to that world. So just keep that in mind on how you write things down. The next thing I would say is speak at fundraisers or church ministry events, especially women's events, whenever possible. I know speaking and sharing our testimonies can be very daunting, very challenging, very difficult, puts us out there to the whole world, but I highly recommend it. This is another way, and actually for years and years, that I filled those groups, January, April, in September, is by speaking at fundraisers for pregnancy resource centers, speaking at recovery ministries at the church, and really just getting out there and being bold and making sure that people knew that I was in pain. I found Jesus, and then I found this Bible study, and then I got free, and just walking them through what that looks like. Many people that come to our groups are Christians. They know that God has forgiven them. This is not a new concept for them, but they haven't forgiven themselves, right? And so they need to know that there is a place and a community that will accept them just as they are, and that they can come and work through the grief and the trauma that came along with that decision, sometimes 50 years ago, sometimes 40 years ago, 30 years ago, because of how long it was legal in all the states. We highly recommend doing that. And then be prepared at those events that you're speaking at. Have people there with you that can talk to folks. Have paperwork with you. Have business cards or flyers that you can give out that makes it really easy for these people to reach out to you. And if you can, get their information as well, because I can't tell you how many people came through group because I got their phone number and reached back out to them within a month or two and met them for coffee, and then they came to group. So sometimes we have to do a little bit of the reaching out as well. Definitely. So those are all things literally that I did for the last 14 years to consistently fill groups. And so I would recommend trying to do all of those. The next couple things I'm going to share with you are brand new things that we have added to Restored Nation's menu, so to speak, and that we are finding very successful. Through the organization Support After Abortion, they have free trainings on their website for both of the things I'm going to mention to you. We love that organization. They're a vital organization, and gosh, we're just so thankful for them. And so first and foremost is the group called Unraveled Roots, and it's an amazing group. It goes after 4 specific roots that could be a problem in someone's life. One is the root of abandonment, the root of addiction, the root of abuse, and the root of codependency. And so this group is a 6-week group. You can do all of the training at the Support After Abortion website. You can print all of the material for free. I print it and bind it. We have a binder, and so we use that and give it to the people for free. Of course, they can donate at the end of group if they feel like they want to, but this group is so very helpful. It's not a super deep Bible study. It's actually not a Bible study at all for men, and there is some biblical aspects to it for women, but it really just helps them break through, some of the confusion and the weeds that come with having some past trauma and not really understanding where it came from. What is this root and why am I behaving this way? Why do I keep behaving this way? What we know will happen is that by offering this group, we are going to encounter women that have had abortions and that maybe didn't feel comfortable coming to a group that would address their abortion specifically, but maybe through group and going through these roots, they realize, oh gosh, through this root of abuse, I recognize that prior to that, I had an abortion or whatever the situation might be. We're very excited. We started offering these groups really recently and we filled it almost immediately. Women were really excited and we had men come through the group as well. And we already have a waiting list for the next time we're going to be hosting groups for both men and women. So it's really, I just highly recommend it. I can't say it enough. So talk to your clinic director or your organization director and find out if this is a group that you guys can bring on board. It might feel a little bit weird. Gosh, we're putting the main thing that we want to do on hold. But if you can start to build relationships and work with people and help them look at their roots and find out, gosh, where is this behavior coming from? You'd be surprised that you really could start filling your groups through having these. Okay. In addition to that, the next one that I would recommend is Keys to Hope and Healing. Now, Keys to Hope and Healing is available for men and women, and it is generally offered virtually. So you may or may not have the ability to offer a virtual group through your organization, through your pregnancy resource center. And I totally understand that. Can you offer this in person? 100%. And actually at a pregnancy resource center, offering a secular grief care group for abortion very well might be more appealing than a Bible study. And so if you work at a pregnancy resource center, you most likely have access to I think it's called Bright Course. And through Bright Course, you can also access the training for Keys to Hope and Healing and Unraveled Roots. So you may be able to bypass the website there and just use Bright Course. So we recommend it. I have hosted several Keys to Hope and Healing groups now. It is wonderful. It can be a little challenging not to bring Jesus up and really, when you're talking about forgiveness, letting them know the power and believing in Jesus and relying on him, but it is okay because I believe God meets each person where they're at. I've seen that happen in these groups, and it really is so powerful to be able to help people in these groups that are desperate for healing but they're not ready for Jesus. And so it has actually been a real honor to do these groups. I absolutely 100% recommend it. And I have total faith that when these gals are ready for Jesus, they will come back to us and do our other group. I really believe that. So that is what that looks like. So I think I'll walk towards wrapping this up. This isn't a perfect science. I'm not promising you that you'll fill your groups, but I do think that if you lean towards working on as many of these as you're able based on your organization, I think you will start to see some success. And if you want some additional support or help, you can reach out to us at restorednation.org, and there is a way for you to message us through our website. And we would love to help you. Maybe you're having an event, but you're just not ready to speak at that event. We'd be happy to come and speak, and then we'll promote your group. We want to help as many people as possible, and we do not believe that they have to come to our group to be helped. We really love to network and get to know other leaders all around the country, but especially in our immediate region of Washington and Oregon, and maybe even into Idaho. And we would love to partner and be as helpful as possible. We have several of us that are willing to speak and have a history of it being successful. So if you have any questions, you can also email us at ask at restorednation.org, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. We do hope it was helpful, and there will be more to come, but this is what we have available today. All right. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.